we go. Fourth time's a charm. That's correct. All right. Let's go on the record. This is the time and date set for a bench trial in the matter of People versus April Marie Montaigne. Now, I always say Montaigne. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, sir.
All right. The defendant is here in pro per. The prosecutor is represented by Casey Johnson. I advised the defendant that this was not the type of case that I would normally incarcerate someone, so I declined to appoint an attorney to represent her on this matter. She indicated she would represent herself. The charge alleges that on or about February 11th of 2021 in Colin Township, that you did commit the offense of littering on private property. It's alleged that you did dump, deposit, or place filth, garbage, or refuse on the grounds or premises of Paul Osthoff without the specific permission of that person. That is, under Michigan law, a misdemeanor punishable by up to 90 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. This is the time and date set for the trial in this matter. Ms. Montaigne, the prosecutor has the burden of proof, and Mr. Johnson is here and he's prepared to go forward. You don't have to do anything at this point except hear the prosecutor's proof. So we'll begin with the prosecutor, and when those proofs are concluded, you would have a right, but not an obligation, to present any evidence that you wish to present.
Okay.
Mr. Johnson, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Do you wish to make any opening statement or simply get right to the proofs?
Your Honor, I'd waive opening and skip right to the proofs.
All right. Who's your first witness?
Your Honor, my first witness is Paul Osthoff.
Good morning, sir. Are you Paul Osthoff?
Yes, I am.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
And your last name is spelled O-S-T-H-O-F-F?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Osthoff, you are under oath. Prosecuting attorney, Mr. Johnson, wants to ask you some questions about this. Mr. Johnson?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Osthoff, do you reside in Township of Colin, St. Joseph County, state of Michigan?
Yes.
And do you own property in that same jurisdiction?
Yes.
Okay. And was there, did you have an incident where there was some trash dumped on your property somewhat recently?
Yes.
Okay. And when would that have been?
I found the trash at the top of my driveway on February 11th, I believe.
Of 2021?
Yes.
Okay. Did you give anyone permission to dump trash on your property?
I did not.
Okay. When you found the trash on your property, what I guess was it? What condition was it in?
It was a bag of trash. It was right in the. It was dumped right where our driveway's at, in the middle of the driveway. And when I found it, it had been split open, and some of the trash was spread down the road a little bit.
Okay. And at that time, did you take photographs of the trash?
Yes.
Yes. And did you provide those to law enforcement and to the prosecutor's office?
Yes.
Okay. And did the photos you took accurately represent the scene as you found it at the time?
Yes,
Okay. And did you alter those photos in any way?
I did not.
Okay. And I guess before I get into the photos, yeah, I guess I'd ask permission to screen share, Your Honor. I've got some proposed exhibits.
How many photos do you have?
I have 4 photographs. Proposing to be admitted
Ms.
today.
Montaigne, I'm going to admit these photographs. He's testified that he took them. They're fair and accurate pictures of what he saw. And he's not altered them in any way. I don't think you're disputing that someone dumped trash on his property. It's just your contention that you didn't do it.
Yes, sir.
So exhibits 1 through 4 are admitted and may be shown.
Okay. Can the court see this?
Not yet.
No? Okay. Let's try
There we
that.
go.
There it is. Okay. So Mr. Ostroff, is this essentially the scene as it was on February 11th when you discovered the trash?
That is after the time frame during which we had a heavy snow. I left it there hoping they'd come by and pick it up, and that's the condition of it during the snowstorm.
Okay. I'm going to show you proposed exhibit 2. Could you explain to me what I'm looking at here?
That is, after all the correspondence I had, I realized they weren't going to come by and pick it up. So me and my wife started collecting it, and that is the pile of trash that we collected just before I put it in that cart to haul it away.
Then I'm going to show you exhibit 3. What am I looking at here?
Appears to be some type of food container with some writing on it.
Okay, and is April written here on the styrofoam? Is that correct? Is that correct, sir? April, the defendant's name written here, first name at least. Okay. And I'm going to show you proposed exhibit 4. And what am I looking at here?
That is a prescription bottle that I found the day that I discovered the trash. That was one of the items that was I found from the split in the bag. It was laying along the right by the bag.
Okay. And so so has this photo been altered in any way?
Other than the markings, the tape marking, no, it has not.
Okay. And just for the record, that this photo was covered the sensitive information that I didn't think was necessary to hear, Your Honor. I didn't want to
I appreciate that.
broadcast any sensitive medical information. So, all right. Mr. Ostroff, once you found the trash, and did you make an effort to discover or to find out who it belonged to?
At first, I put it on maybe some calling, hopefully that somebody would contact me, and nobody did contact me about it. So I did write a letter to Mrs. Montaigne, and I sent it to the address that was on the pill bottle.
And did
Well,
you get
just a minute back. You said you put it. Did you put it on Facebook or something?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just to advise people what had happened, and I was asking for the person to come and pick the trash up.
And did you get any response?
I got quite a few responses on the Facebook of just people in general. In particular, Mr. Montaigne responded back to me. Let me find the response. Want me to read it?
Well, Mr. Ostroff, we don't know, that won't be necessary. I'm curious if anyone, well, I suppose if the defendant had reached out to you at any point in time.
No, what happened was when I wrote the letter to the address that was on the bottle, I found out later on that address was her sister's, and her sister had given me contact information so I could talk to Mrs. Montaigne about the trash.
Okay. And were you able to make contact with Ms. Montaigne?
Yes, I was. Yes.
Okay. And did she acknowledge that the trash belonged to her?
Yes, she did, but she also said that she didn't dump the trash on my property.
Okay. And did she offer to take care of the situation?
At first, she was agreeable, and as time went on, she became less and less agreeable. And after a month went by, I decided that wasn't going to happen. So me and my wife put it out.
Okay. So, so did you leave the trash out there while you were looking for someone to come and clean it up?
Yes.
Okay. So did you eventually clean it up?
Yes.
Okay. And then at some point, did you contact law enforcement about the situation?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And I guess just so I'm clear, did you ever did you see the trash being dumped?
Pardon me?
Pardon, I'm sorry.
He didn't understand your question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just wanting to be clear. Did you see the trash dumped on your property?
I did not.
Okay.
It apparently happened during that evening or night.
Okay. And did the defendant ever apologize for the inconvenience?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Ossoff.
All right. April, do you have any questions you wish to ask?
I don't have any questions. I mean, I have a couple of statements.
All right. Well, don't say anything at this point. If you don't have any questions, that's fine. All right. Do you have another witness?
Yeah, Your Honor. I'll quickly call Sergeant Barnes.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Barnes. Would you raise your right hand? You swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. And would you state your name for the record?
My name is Sergeant Timothy Barnes.
All right. Mr. Johnson?
Thank you. Sergeant Barnes, who's your employer?
My employer is St. Joe Sky Sheriff's Office.
All right. And how long have you been with the Sheriff's Department?
I've been with the Sheriff's Department approximately 10 years.
Okay. And are you the investigating officer in this case?
I am.
Okay. Do you know when Mr. Ostroff first made contact with you regarding this complaint?
Yes, it was March 1st, 2021.
Okay. And at that point, did you have an opportunity to speak with Ms. Montaigne about the trash?
I did believe speak with Ms. Montaigne via telephone regarding trash.
Okay. Did she acknowledge that the trash was hers?
I don't recall whether or not she initially kind of was defensive and didn't really say that the trash was hers, and she was more upset over Mr. Ostoff posted stuff to Facebook and that type of stuff was kind of the initial conversation. And I told her I didn't believe that was the case, that it was clearly her trash. She didn't advise that the day of this incident that it was trash pickup day, or Mr. Ostoff didn't advise it was the normal trash route day. She had no explanation how the trash would have gotten there other than it fell off a trash truck, which I couldn't corroborate that. So I told her I didn't believe her story, and Mr. Ostoff was, from my understanding at that time, was looking for her to, address the issue with him. And so she said she'd call and apologize to him.
Okay, so she indicated to you that she was going to apologize to Mr. Ostoff.
Correct.
Did she take any other responsibility for the trash having been dumped on his property?
She did not, to my knowledge, no.
All right. And were you able to locate any other individuals or any other persons of interest that may have, in this case?
I was not, like I said, there was no witnesses that saw the trash being dumped. Like I said, there was no trash route on that day that I was made aware of where I would have fallen off a trash truck. So,
all right. And I guess just so I'm clear, she indicated to you she was going to apologize to Mr. Ostoff. Could you clarify, or do you know, or did she say what it was she was going to apologize for exactly?
for the trash being on the property and not getting cleaned up, my understanding.
Did she indicate to you that she was going to come and make some effort to clean up the trash?
No, by that point, Mr. Ostoff had cleaned up the trash and had it basically all cleaned up at that point, and I advised her as such. That he just upset that she hadn't been basically accountable for any of this after his efforts to take care of it civilly, as we'd expect that to happen.
Thank you. I have no further questions, Senator Barnes.
Ms. Fontaine, do you have any questions for Officer Barnes?
Yes, sir, I do. Officer Barnes, on the day that you called me, didn't you advise me if I was to call Mr. Offstetter and apologize to him that no charges would be brought against me?
I stated that you need to contact Mr. Ostoff and to try to remedy the situation, was my understanding with Mr. Ostoff at the time. And it sounded like when you contacted him, it wasn't a very pleasant situation. And so he advised that he wished to continue to pursue criminal charges in this matter.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. So, Officer Barnes, what did you do? You secured a warrant for Ms. Montaine's arrest?
I submitted the charges to the prosecutor's office, yes, Your Honor.
And did you arrest her?
I did not.
All right, but somebody did?
Were you given a note? I don't know if she was given a notice to appear or was actually arrested on the charges. I don't know, Your Honor.
No,
Okay.
sir, actually, I came into the
Stop,
courthouse.
stop. Don't say anything. All right, nothing further of this witness. Mr. Johnson, do you have any other questions?
No, Your Honor, that's all I have.
Any other evidence?
No, Your Honor, I rest.
Ms. Montaigne, you
Yes,
don't
sir.
have an attorney here, and I've dealt with you on a number of other cases, and I know you're able to speak your own mind here. You have an opportunity to present evidence on your own behalf, but you don't have to. My concern at this point, this is a trial. You're charged with a criminal offense, punishable by up to 90 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. They have to prove this beyond a reasonable doubt, and I don't believe they've done that. The allegation is that you did dump or place filth on Mr. Ostoff's property. There's evidence that somebody did, I don't know if it fell off a truck or how it got there. And it appeared to have some items with, at least the pill bottle seems to belong to you. Do you have a Kleenex or something, April? I'd give you one if I were here.
It's all right.
All right. At any rate, I don't believe they've proven this case beyond a reasonable doubt. They had probable cause to charge you with it. They issued a warrant for your arrest, but there doesn't appear to be enough evidence to prove that you're the one that put it there. So you can provide testimony if you wish and perhaps snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, but based on what I've heard so far, I don't think they can prove that you did this. So if you wish to testify under oath and give your side of the story, you can. You'll be subject to cross-examination by Mr. Johnson. You have a right to testify. You also have a right not to testify. What do you wish to do?
I wish not to testify, sir.
All right. Essentially, having stated where I think the evidence is, this is the equivalence of a directed verdict. Anything, Mr. Johnson, you think I may have missed that would convince me otherwise?
Your Honor, I recognize the weakness in the people's case here. These littering cases can be difficult because in having to prove that someone did it by essentially catching them in the act. I think the people have every other piece of the puzzle. This was Ms. Montaigne's garbage. I don't think there's much question about that. And it was dumped on.
Just a minute. April, will you sit down in one spot?
I'm sorry, I had to move because my dogs were all over me.
So the trash was dumped on the property of Mr. Hushtoff without his permission. Ms. Montaigne did at least indicate to law enforcement she was going to apologize about the whole situation. So she skirted taking some responsibility for this. However, I agree the proofs do not indicate that she flat out admitted that she placed it there. So I don't believe the court is missing anything in this case.
All right. In the most famous littering case in the history of rock and roll, which would be Alice's Restaurant, they found Arlo Guthrie's name on a letter under a half a ton of garbage. And they said, how did it get there? And he said, I must confess, I did place that under a half a ton of garbage. Anyway, they admitted it, they cleaned it up, they went to jail, and he wrote a 17.5-minute song about it. But having someone's trash dumped in your driveway is certainly a nuisance. Last February was all of the winter we got. We got a heavy dose of it during the entire month. It was cold and a lot of snow. I don't know what caused the bag to break open, whether it was a plow truck or a dog or a raccoon. And her statement through the officer was it was on the trash route and it was trash day. At any rate, the prosecutor acknowledged they haven't met their burden. So the case is dismissed. My concern was, I don't know there was ever any more evidence than this, and the defendant did get arrested or turned herself in and posted a $100 bond. Your bond is going to be returned to you. With the power of the pen, the prosecutor can have you arrested. And you got arrested, but I'm not sure there ever was enough evidence to prove this matter beyond a reasonable doubt. And it wasn't proven here today. So the charge is dismissed. I find that people have not met the burden of proving this beyond a reasonable doubt. There was enough probable cause to charge it, so the charging was not unlawful, but I'm going to return your bond. Ms. Montaigne, you're free to go on about your business. Mr. Ostoff, I'm sorry for all the rigmarole you went through on this, but Mr. Johnson pointed out they're very difficult to prove unless you find somebody that saw them in the act. So this case is completed. Thank you.